The Fearless Social podcast is proudly sponsored by ScriptDoll.com. Want to write professional sales copy, email campaigns, and video sales letters for your product or business? ScriptDoll makes it as easy as answering a few questions. To try ScriptDoll for just $1, visit ScriptDoll.com and enter promo code PODCAST. And now, this week's episode. Ben Atkins here, and welcome to the Fearless Social podcast. So in this edition, we're going to be talking about something that I think is one of the most important things when you form a company and you want to sell products to people, especially if you're doing it online, because when you're online, you get to, do some very cool things that you wouldn't normally get to do. And people can visit you 24/7 if you've got something online. So that's kind of nice. But one of the most important things is stories. And with every company that I do business with, it's interesting that I could typically tell you their story, whether it's a local coffee shop or it's a giant chain like Apple. There's typically stories that these businesses tell. And, that's the thing. You can buy from anywhere. You can buy stuff from just about anywhere, especially if it's a commodity like toilet paper or something like that. But what we tend to do as human beings, that have a heart beating in our chest, is we buy from people that have stories that we identify with. So what I wanted to do on this edition of the Fearless Social podcast is I wanted to walk you through the 4 types of stories. And with those stories, you can bond people to you quicker. You can bond them to your product, and people end up spending even more money with you for nearly an identical product just because they believe in your cause, what you're doing, and what you're all about. And think about that. How many of you, and that's not everybody, but how many of you out there listening, actually buy from a company because you believe in what they're about, or you believe in the people that are a part of that? And I think we all do that. So when you're buying from people, I want you to start really thinking about it. Why do you buy from this person? And is one of these 4 story types, part of that process? So let's talk about this real quick. There's 4 types of stories. And let me just name these 4 stories real quick, and then we'll go through each of them individually. So the first is an origin story. The second is the product story. After that is the customer story. And then finally, the what I stand for story. So these 4 stories are some things that you can use in your business to tell your story really, really quickly. And not only will you sell more products, and I can almost guarantee that, but you will get people to be long-term customers of yours because these stories will bond with them. Because like I said, a story is the thing that brings us close to someone. All right. Think about when you met someone that maybe became a good friend. Think about your partner, your wife, your husband, whatever it may be. It's the stories that really brought you close to them. And it's the weaknesses that brought you close to them. It's not all the strengths. So let's go through these. The first kind of story that we're going to want to tell in our business, you can pick one. You can tell all of these. But the first kind that we're going to do is called the origin story. And this is pretty simple because it typically has to do with how your company started. Okay, so how did your company get started? And one of the ways that this works is because it comes from a very honest place. I would bet money that most people out there didn't really start their business just for money. If you just started your business for money, it would be very difficult to go to work every day. Now, we all have tough days, but most of us started our business because we saw a problem out there and we figured, the solutions out there are not really great. So let's say that you're a restaurant owner and maybe you started a restaurant in your town because there wasn't really a great place to get steaks. And you thought, I'm cooking great steaks at home. I feel like I can make a lot of money doing this. And I feel like there are a ton of people that are just like me want a steak. So the origin story is really where you start to dive in and you start to tell why your company exists. When did it start? Why was it born? What were the things that happened to you in the process that led you to forming this company? And what did you face in the early days when you started this company? Was it hard? Were there things that went wrong? Why did you create your business? And this is something that people identify with. When they can tell you the story of your business and how you got started, it's a very powerful thing. One of the reasons that, we do so well in our business is a lot of people know that, hey, this guy, Ben, started off as a chiropractor. And, he was had no money to market his practice, and he started on the internet and he grew his business really quickly with the internet. This is my story. It's my real story. And I had a chiropractic practice, and it started basically, being really, really strong and had a lot of people coming through because they heard of us on Facebook and the internet. And pretty quickly after that, I had other people saying, hey, can you help us? So I started putting together, plans for people to help them, and they were paying me to do that. And then finally, I couldn't help all the people that wanted me to help them anymore. So I started writing things down. I started doing videos for people, and they paid me for those. And that's sort of how I got into this digital marketing thing and selling courses and doing podcasts like this one online. Is I had a lot of people that, wanted help growing their business online, and I was doing pretty good at it. So that's how I got started. So that's an origin story. Now, if I had more time, I could give you more, but that's the idea. It's how did you get started? What was going on, in the market around you that you felt that you had a place and that you could do really, really well. Okay. So that's story number one. Story number two is the product story. So you got to think, what is it about your product? Maybe that's why you started your business because, you thought your town needed a restaurant, but why did you create the product? Why did you create that steak that was like nobody else's? What are the things behind the steak? Where did you learn to make that steak? Did you fly to Canada and some mystic in the mountains showed you how to make the steak? There's always a good thing behind your products. Maybe your dad taught you how to make the steak and he had a special secret recipe that nobody else knew and he gave it to you on his deathbed. Like I said, I'm just making things up here, but the idea is people really want to know if there's something cool about your business, they want to know about it. And if you don't have a product story, then you really need to come up with one. And if you don't feel like your product warrants a story, then maybe create a product that does warrant a story. Because like I said, people love to know, hey, not only am I buying this awesome thing, but this is the story behind it. So the product story. So your origin story, which was number one, is kind of how your business got started. Your product story is sort of the focused on the product thing. Now you can tell one or the other. Sometimes they can almost be one and the same. All right, so after that, let's go to number three, the customer story. If you've been in business more than a month to 2 months, you probably have a customer that has come into your business, they've bought your product, and they have had an amazing experience from that. And the idea is this customer story is something that other people like them will be able to relate to. And so you want to tell that story. Now, it's really, really simple to do this. And like I said, the main things that you need to go into is when you're telling a customer story, you need to go in and you need to answer just a few key questions. Number one, the customer needs to tell you, about the problem they were having before they found you. Number two, they need to say, like, this is how I found them. This is how I sort of found this business. After that, they'll tell you their experience with your business. So they'll kind of go through that. And then finally, would they recommend your business to someone else, and why would they recommend it? So that's really the questions I answer with the customer story. And it ends up being this really, really nice step-by-step walkthrough of why someone else should come through. And this is a real person. So other people can identify. It's hard sometimes for people to identify with a business owner saying, this is how great my product or company is. But when a regular person who has spent money with that business tells that story, it's pretty cool. So try to find that customer. Who's the customer that loves your business because you've helped them or you've changed their life? Or with our steak example, they come in once a week. What is that story? Okay, so after that, the what I stand for. So you got an origin story, you got a product story, you got a customer story, but a lot of times telling people what you stand for. My thing is, in our business, Fearless Social, where we sell a lot of really cool things on how to, build your business online. My thing was, when I got into the industry, there was a lot of people who were, telling stories and, teaching methods that there was nothing to them. They were just really good at selling thin air. And there was no real success behind the things that they were putting together. So when we got into this business, we put in and we said, customers will always be number one. We will always put things that work in front of them. We will never sell them something just to sell them something. And we will take care of our customers better than anyone else out there. Now, you have to have some proof behind this. And we have one of the best support teams out there. If you have a problem with anything, whether you've bought a product or not from us, you can always find us at our support desk. And if you go to the blog, we write a lot of stuff on how to do that, how to be really great at customer support. But I don't think we would be that focused on that if we didn't stand for extremely high quality products and we got into it because it wasn't so existent when we got into it. So that's sort of the what I stand for story. So there you go. Those are the stories that you can tell. And I implore, I want to just ask you to do this, because even if you think, oh, it's silly, I don't need that. People buy our product because we got a good product. But if you attach a story to it, this is where things get viral. Because if you want people to really talk about your business outside of your business and you really want people to recommend, give them something that they can talk about with their friends over dinner. They can talk about, online, because people won't necessarily want to talk about your product, but they do love telling stories. And if you have a good product story to go with your story, an origin story to go with your business, or maybe you got a customer that's had a really good result, or you stand for something unique and you want to put it out there, that's how you can use stories to really get people to lock in to your business and, hey, spend more money with you. So thanks for listening. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoy storytelling as it relates to business, just because it has made us so much money, and our customers love our business a lot more because we've told the real honest stories behind what we do. Like I said, if you have any questions or you want more info, you can go to fearlesssocial.com. Up at the top of the page, there's a podcast link, and you can click on that and you get show notes from this show or any of the shows that we've done so far. And you know what? If you really dig us, go to iTunes and click the subscribe button. Leave us a comment. That would mean the world to me. And tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And tell me what else that you'd like to hear. So Ben Adkins here with Fearless Social. Thanks for listening. I will see you on the next episode of the Fearless Social Podcast. Want to add 50 to 100 targeted leads per day to your business? Meet Birdsong, the most powerful email list building app on the planet. Visit fearlesssocial.com/birdsong and watch the video to see how you can use Facebook and the Birdsong app to get 50 to 100 targeted leads per day for free.